My name is Mary Bailey. I grew up in this town. Ken is my brother. And the house that he was talking about was built in 1787. And one of the things that concerns me is that this old historic house will never stand up to the trucks that are going to go by. But if there are any police in town that have been on the force for a number of years, they're going to tell you that where we live on Wallen Lake Road, 510 Wallen Lake Road, there have been so many accidents. Years ago in the 50s, the state built a stone wall in front of my dad's house. I can't tell you how many times that wall's been hit. A few years ago, there was a fatal accident in the house right across the street. My brother's house is right next to my dad's house. Mailbox wiped out, his bushes wiped out. If you're familiar with that area of Wallen Lake Road, you know that there's a small stream right there, and with a state bridge that has these concrete abutments, and cars have even flown over that abutment and landed on the other side. Now I say this because to me that sounds like this is a hazardous area on Wallen Lake Road, and it is. And the water, Wilson's Reservoir, is only a couple of 100 feet from that road. If you go down the road just a short way, some of you will know where I mean if I say Rose McCarthy, right where she lives. Anybody from Wallen Lake Road that got their driver's license and drove on that road knows that in the winter, you better be careful or you're going to spin out, all right, because there's trees, and so it stays icy. Wilson's Reservoir comes right up to the road. So what happens if only just one truck has an accident and thousands of gallons of oil or ammonia? I assume that ammonia has to get trucked in, and I assume that you all understand that ammonia is deadly. It's just deadly. As soon as there's an accident, anyone in the vicinity is dead. All right, my son here works in a plant that has a 5,000-gallon tank, all right, and had to go through training, and the people there, you know, they had to know, okay, if there's any kind of breach, we've got to do this, and it's got to be done quickly. So I'm concerned about the safety, and someone has already mentioned the tremendous amount of pollutants that are going to be put in the air. Now, obviously, I think we all understand that the greatest concentration of these pollutants are going to be in the near vicinity of the plant. All right, that's Pasco, the Wallen Lake Road area. I can name you at least 12 bodies of water in Pasco alone. And so I'm thinking, if these pollutants fall into the water, some will run off, I'm sure, and then it's going to be somebody else's problem further down the road. But it just seems to me that some of these pollutants are going to settle in. They'll be in the sediment. So when my grandchildren are swimming at my camp, or the boats are pulling skiing, it's going to be churning up those pollutants all the time. I worry what's going to happen to my grandchildren. Will they get cancer? What about, you can imagine the number of fishing derbies that are held just on Wilson's. Will those fish be considered contaminated? Will we be liable? Who's going to be liable for all this? You know, these are questions that really need to be answered, and certainly, you know, are very pressing upon us. You know, we talk about money and taxes and the environment, but I'm going to tell you, the bottom line is your own health. If you thought that by living in such and such an area, that your chance of cancer is now raised significantly, you probably wouldn't live there. If this plant goes in, I suspect that I'll move. Now, my husband's family has been here a long time because they're descendants of Roger Williams. And what a sad thing that a family that has lived in Rhode Island that long would feel that they have to leave because of health and safety. And so I'm asking you, regardless of the taxes or the environment, please consider the health and safety of the people who live here, because that's everybody's priority.